Well, the return of Taliban rule in Afghanistan is not only raising concerns of a full-blown humanitarian and refugee crisis, it's also sparking fears that the progress made over 20 years to improve the lives and rights of women could also be wiped out overnight. The Taliban says it will give women the freedom to work and go to school. But as Laila Humairah reports, what's been happening on the ground is raising concerns.
Zarmeena Kakar was one when the Taliban entered Kabul for the first time in 1996. For the next 5 years, the group enforced its extreme interpretation of Islam, denying women education and the right to work. As a child, Kakar witnessed her mother being whipped for revealing her face in public. But she considers herself fortunate to be part of a generation that was eventually allowed to go to school and join the workforce once the Taliban was forced from power. 20 years later, and the militant group has returned, Kakar says the fragile freedom Afghan women have had is over.
I feel like we're birds who make nests for a living and spend all their time building them, but then suddenly and helplessly watch others destroy them, and then everything vanishes. I have a bad feeling, and it's the same feeling that other women have.
At the end of the Taliban's rule in 2001, the World Bank says women's participation in the labor force was 15%, one of the lowest rates in the world. The figure increased to 22% in 2020, but analysts fear the gains made to get more women contributing to the economy will be reversed. And the progress that sent more than 3 million girls to schools and universities in the past 20 years could face the same fate. The Taliban has pledged to maintain women's rights, but repression has been reported as it's made its advance across Afghanistan. There have been reports of girls being taken away from their families and schools set on fire. Young women have also reportedly forged marriage certificates to avoid being forced to wed Taliban fighters. And female employees at banks seized by the group have been told to go home and stay home.
Majority of the Afghan women, they don't have reliable source of income. Majority of them have some sort of work going on for them, and some of them have lost their husbands in war, either in the army side or the Taliban side, and they work.
The UN says 80% of Afghans who fled the country since May are women and children. And with the Taliban's return to power likely to set women's rights back decades, humanitarian groups say it could spell disaster for those who stay. Laila Humairah, TRT World.
Mariam Wardak is the founder of Her Afghanistan, an organization dedicated to the advancement of Afghan women. She explains how women in the country are feeling about the Taliban's return to power.
There is a sense of concern, a sense of uncertainty, a sense of loss and betrayal. Betrayal in the sense that the government leadership had fled Afghanistan, a sense of loss that they feel that they're going to lose their freedom and the opportunities that they've worked for, a sense of insecurity. Many of the girls who are the sole providers for their households and are matriarchs of their households will not be able to provide for their families. So that is the feeling that I could project to your viewers by my members in Afghanistan. I think the women of Afghanistan are very strong and bright, and they reflect on historical facts. And history has proven wrong when it comes to Taliban providing opportunities to women. However, there have been instances where tribal elders in certain provinces in Afghanistan have forced the Taliban commanders to allow women to go to school. The tribal system, the elders of Afghanistan have a huge influence on how the Taliban will operate. If they will not allow it, the Taliban will not be allowed to operate in that sense. Now, there's a huge call that I call on all international actors to bring together all the religious scholars to call out and make theological arguments of why women need to have a standing place in society, because in the Islamic religion, women do have a high status.